Thank
Hi,
you for
everyone.
coming. I'm Jason,
I'm Andrew.
and we are super excited to do a much deeper dive into Notion Mail. So, email's been around for a while. So before we introduce anything new, we thought it'd be good to do a bit of a look back on the history of email. So let's go back to 2004. This is me in 2004. This is when I actually created my first email address and account, which I still use today, but I'm not going to share the address. It's a little embarrassing. And when I was 7 years old, I had a very different idea of how email would work. I thought that you just create labels, and magically, Gmail would categorize and organize your emails into each of those buckets. So really important topics I was looking into, like animals, precedents, which is still relevant today, and for some really weird reason, wax. I have no idea why I thought that was important, but it's there. And thinking back to 2004, the internet wasn't as magical as a place as it is today. This is a little nostalgic for some of you maybe, but the foundations were really what was so strong. So you can see there was chat, like AOL messaging groups. There was notes, which were very bare bones. No way to call people over the internet, so you still had to use flip phone, landline. But you see in the center, there was email. And it looks relatively similar to how it is today. Inbox, sidebar, and all the labels you'd expect. Fast forwarding 20 years to today, the internet has changed and transformed so much. Chat can now work across entire companies and organizations. Notes have been replaced by products like Notion, where you can manage your entire knowledge base and wiki and do so much more. You can video conference straight from your laptop. But email, there's been some changes, but relatively the same. It's definitely not as magical as I thought it would be when I was 7, and there's so much more we could do.
Jason and I really care about this problem, and we and our team have been working on it for quite a while. 4 years ago, we started a company called Skiff that made a privacy-first workspace with email, notes, and more. And much of the Skiff team is with us in the audience today. So we were working on email for quite a while, but we actually found that we started to build features that were more about living with your email than actually working inside of it. We built features such as adding and buying domains, so you could have a personal domain for your family or your life. We built features like adding hundreds of email aliases to one account. That can't be the best way to do email. And we built a sophisticated unsubscribe platform to help you unsubscribe from tens or even hundreds or thousands of emails in your inbox and mass delete. But this is really because email does not match the way you work today. Your email isn't just messages. It's this API for human-to-company and human-to-human communications. It's tax, it's receipts, it's recruiting, and it's so many more different use cases, all built into one single SaaS app. And like Jason said this morning, it's also inescapable. It's our passport to the internet. So every single day, our emails pile up. We see them in this never-ending list and just have one email that really matters, one or two that we really need to get back to. And it's always a hunt to find that one every single day. But then, once you've found that single email that matters, it's so mind-numbingly frustrating to respond to it. How many of us have gone to our sent folder and copy-pasted, or searched for an email just to copy-paste 3 or 4 bullet points? And most email editors don't even have indented bullets, when Notion has callouts and quotes and way more than that. So, why are inboxes so cluttered? And yet, every single time we try and organize it, like animals and precedents, etc., we pay a tax. It's so annoying to drag and drop an email into your left sidebar, or hit the L shortcut and apply your set of labels. The more organization you want to do today, the more your email fights back.
And so we felt that email obviously is outdated and really wanted to take the approach of how Notion could uniquely tackle this type of product and experience. And so like we mentioned this morning, you can now treat your inbox like a database with Notion Mail. So in this example, if you have customer support, you can group by the priority of the ticket, can add labels for the type of bug, you can filter on those properties, and then customize the layout however you want. And instead of the old sort of antiquated email editor, you have a Notion editor. You have slash command, callouts, code blocks, quotes, emojis, really everything you know and love. And There are features like the schedule button, which really takes advantage of the fact that Notion is integrated across Notion Mail and Notion Calendar. So you can even write something like, let's meet next Thursday or after the holidays, and just /command that button, and it will automatically check your calendar, figure out what dates you're available, and then include them in the button, so the recipient just has to accept via a link. And when it comes to really repetitive emails, you never have to waste time on those sort of endless exchanges. So if you're trying to do recruiting, a candidate might be ghosting you, you can use the auto-reply agent, and it will follow up and make sure that that email gets resolved. And like Andrew was mentioning, repetitive emails can be such a pain. And with our snippets feature, you can create reusable email templates. And when you use those snippets, it will automatically populate with the information that you need right when you use it for each and every individual email. So you could send 10 intros to different candidates if you're trying to set up coffee chats, and it will work automatically with everyone's name and the scheduling date. And of course, this makes my 7-year-old self so happy. Notion Mail is able to automatically label your emails for you. It can extract the role, it can, if you're doing recruiting, it can help you triage the stage, and it's all based on your instructions and prompt. It can even go further than just labeling. It can actually draft replies for you, and so you can just wake up in the morning, go through your inbox, verify, tweak, and send.
So, we're ready to take a look. All right, but we have one request from everyone in the audience first, which is get out your phones, and I'll read this email out loud, but we'd actually love for you to send me an email, and we're going to use it in a really great, hopefully good live demo about to start. So just open your email app, and then send me an email to mwn-andrew@makenotion.com. And ideally, make it about recruiting. So some job you'd love to have at Notion, some role that you're applying for, and we'll give you 25, 30 seconds to get that done. Please give me a thumbs up just so I know a few people have sent them to make the demo great. All right.
Oh, okay.
We're ready to go. Oh my gosh. With such a long break, will you look at that? My email is absolutely flooded. Thank you, everyone, for sending me so many notes. Oh my gosh, they're really coming in. Well, if you look at that, you can already see some work that Notion AI is doing for me behind the scenes. So I've got all these recruiting labels automatically getting applied. Oh my gosh, I'm getting lost in my inbox. So if you just check, like you're probably noticing, my inbox is changing. I just saw a draft appear. I see recruiting and sales pop up. I see new emails coming in, and oh my gosh, I'm absolutely flooded. Well, this is the day of a founder's inbox. So now let's actually get in there. I see a great email from Alejandro, who I haven't met yet, but now I have over email. And Alejandro, just like you would expect, is in the resume review section of my process, has had the recruiting label applied, and has also had this email tagged as sales. So let's check out some more. I've got a couple more sales roles. Looks like that one's popular. And let's see what else. This one's illustration. I guess it hasn't been labeled yet. But even more notably, you see that drafts are appearing. Notion AI is writing drafts behind the scenes because I'd absolutely love to meet with Jacob about a systems engineering position. And they keep coming in. Notion AI really is having to do a lot of work. So that also means that my candidate view is flooded. I have 89 candidates in the resume review category, which is quite a long day's work. But every single one here has a draft pre-written and ready to send. And they're also organized by their corresponding roles. So just like you do in Notion, instead of organizing your email or your tasks just by the time you created them, let's now change how that works. Let's group by the roles people are applying for instead of just the status. And now maybe I can make sense of my emails. Well, I have no shortage of design candidates from a bunch of great people who are sending in resumes and a lot more info right here. Now, what if I want to actually do some work on them? So let's say I had checked out Allison's portfolio. Let's now add a text property, as you do in Notion, for my candidate notes. And so I'll head into that email, and I'll just make a note, awesome, portfolio. So that's a start, but Notion Mail can do so much more. Let's now actually get some work done. So As Jason mentioned, snippets are a way to save time when you're writing and responding to emails. So it looks like we have so many candidates in the coffee chat, I have no shortage of opportunities to get that done. And we'll start by just opening this and then going to the snippet menu. And now I've got one pre-written, the introduction snippet. It's going to give me a variable where I can personalize it just a bit. So let's say the IT engineering team. Apply that. And this schedule button is dynamic. So you can see that it loaded in the snippet, but it's created times within the next few days for us to meet. And I could adjust that as I'd like. The schedule button's really smart. So it's actually going to look at this email and read it, and then give you times based on what the candidate or you have asked for. Let's open up another example. I have no shortage. Let's go back to the status. And let's say I now wanted to talk to a candidate, oh no, who has an offer out. So Notion AI can actually suggest these snippets in quick replies, whether that's just like a quick note, thank you, or will do, or an entire offer letter in response. So in Zoe's case, you'd love to give an offer letter on the phone, so I've got a schedule button that's going to do just that. Now, even more importantly, sometimes candidates will ghost you. And you can see, even though I have now 91 candidates in my resume review section, I only have 1 with an offer and 3 interviewing. You never want to lose a candidate in the interviewing process. So for this candidate, Ryan, you can see I wrote some awesome, really positive feedback and wanted to schedule a full onsite, a 4-hour block. But Ryan never wrote back to me. This is now, a day old, and I'm getting nervous because I can't lose Ryan in this process. And that's where the auto reply can come in again. So I can just go back, just like I did with scheduling this morning, and have Notion AI get to work. Now that's actually really powerful. It's not just going to send a single email and draft it. It's going to give context based on what's already written, so a 4-hour scheduling block, and it'll keep following up persistently, so you don't have to. You don't have to go back to your recruiting view, copy and paste a follow-up, and get back to Ryan. Once this sends, it'll try a few times to bump this thread until Ryan writes back. And you can do that on every single email you send. So no longer expect your doctors, lawyers, or your family members to ghost you over email. Notion AI can help you with that. But all these concepts don't just work for recruiting, they work for all the different ways you use email. And I'm sure you know that from using Notion. So we've got a really powerful set of templates and a Command K menu to help you work really quickly. Now let's head to a different view and get some more work done. Now I'm going to head to customer support. And so I have a completely different set of emails here, and they're grouped by something totally different, by the status of that request. So I have some that are unfortunately not started, a few requests in progress, and then a few that are done. So let's check out some feedback from Eli. The group by feature looks like it could use some improvement. So I'll just write back with a quick reply, send it, sent instantly, and then I'm going to drag and drop Eli to the done phase, because I'll get to that work later. So just like you can move emails around a group Notion database, you can do that in your inbox as well. Now we're going to do something really magical. Raise your hand if you speak more than one language, hopefully more than just English. So almost everyone. That's really awesome, and Notion's user base is all over the world. We are particularly popular in Japan, Korea, and other places. So let's show you a demo of how to make your inbox work internationally. We've got this same view of our feedback emails from Gilbert and Ryan and Terry and more. So now let's put Autopilot to the task of translating our inbox. Thinking. So there you go. Notion AI, behind the scenes, just like an AI property in Notion, can actually take these emails and translate them into Japanese right before our eyes. But because Notion Mail is built like a Notion database, we can then put those properties right in our inbox. So here's all my feedback emails translated into Japanese. And of course, this will work for any language and any prompt that you'd expect. But there's no one who would love this feature more than 7-year-old Jason. So we've actually rebuilt Jason's inbox here with animals, museums, and real estate.
Thank you, Andrew.
But this time, it's not paying a tax of dragging and dropping your emails into the sidebar like you had to do in 2004. It's doing it based on a 1-sentence prompt, applying the animals, the museums, or the real estate labels. So if I really want to keep my inbox organized, I'll let Notion AI do it for me. And I've got all my emails about museums, including the one you saw this morning from the Guggenheim, and lots of other great newsletters for me to get to when I please, and not keep my inbox cluttered. So, that's it for the demo. So, we hope you saw how Notion Mail works for all of your different email needs. It's personalized, it saves you time from the tedious tasks of copy and pasting emails. It can do scheduling, rescheduling, and cancellations without you ever having to lift a finger. And it auto-labels and auto-drafts right when emails pop into your inbox. So now, for the rest of the Notion Mail unveiling, we have a really exciting guest, Alex Atallah, who's going to join us now. You may all know Alex, who has been the co-founder and CTO of OpenSea, and now the co-founder and CEO of OpenRouter. Alex is a legendary founder who has not one, but two founder-level email inboxes. And so we're so excited to have Alex come on stage and join us for a few questions about both using email and also about Notion Mail. Thank you, Alex.
Excited to be here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course.
So I guess our first question is, how many unread emails do you have?
I think 30,000 right now, not including my archive.
Oh my God.
Well, that is quite a task to manage. Maybe tell us a bit about what does the inbox of a founder look like? What are your different email needs, and how are you managing your inbox?
I have multiple inboxes. I'm a heavy user of the primary category in Google and in Gmail. So I have a lot of stuff get shoved into updates and forums and promotions, which Notion Mail works really well with, unlike a lot of clients, I should say. And honestly, I have a very averse relationship with my email. New emails come in, and I kind of get blind. It's like I blur my vision intentionally. I kind of see a few words like, oh, deadline missed. Okay, this one I'll go and do. But otherwise, I try to find automations and ways to make it as stress-free as possible.
Well, we have a couple of slides on that. Maybe tell us a bit about the special email setup you created that works just for your inbox. And let us know when you want more detail on screen.
Yeah, so I think I've tried all email clients pretty much, and every time a new one comes out, I give it a go. After OpenAI started launching an API for GPT-3, it was called DaVinci. The first email automation that I made that was AI powered was an app script that you can go to the next slide, or go maybe one after that. Yeah, this one. It would go over all of my emails and draft 2 replies to every single one. One reply that says yes, and one reply that says no, with a couple reasons under each. And then I would just go through and delete a draft and send the other over and over again. And it was okay. It was not a really powerful model though, so a lot of the drafts were pretty bad. Now you can go to the previous slide. The next wave of automations that I worked on, this was made using an agent workflow builder called Lindy, which is kind of similar to Zapier. And basically, it goes over my emails the whole inbox. And a fundamental problem with inboxes is that they're sorted by time instead of by priority or other things like Andrew demoed earlier. And what I wanted to do is see all my emails in one go and have the AI think about which ones I should act on right now. What is the most important one? Maybe the deadline is passed. Maybe it's past tax season, or maybe it's major recruiting emails, or some huge bug or huge fire that was deeply buried, or maybe it was a deadline that was really far in the future 2 months ago, but is right around the corner. So that's what this automation does, and this one I use quite a bit.
And I guess, what has your experience been like using Notion Mail? How has it changed from using these types of scripts?
So these scripts, I have to run them manually. I can create triggers, but I have to kind of maintain the automation a lot, and it's just not a very friendly user experience. It's also not something I can share very easily with other people. And most importantly, it's pretty low leverage. Like, I can't incorporate my team's knowledge into these things. I can't have someone write a Notion doc that explains, like, which customer support issues are highest priority and how to fix them, and have my automations use all of that knowledge that my team is working on every day. So Notion Mail basically is that direction for mail, I think, where I can both create these custom prompts, kind of like what you see in this right sidebar here, where I'm describing exactly what constitutes an important email. And I can help my team do the same things themselves, and we can share knowledge in the form of prompts.
Very cool. Maybe tell us a bit more about the prompts that you're using. How have you set up autopilot? Do you have it label, extract, trash, archive? Tell us more, because we saw it draft and label and do a few things.
Yeah, so I have one autopilot rule that just reads the email and figures out if there's a deadline involved. And I think it's wild that this doesn't exist in email today. But there are all kinds of emails where the deadline is super buried and not in bold, and or it's some random government deadline that just emerged last year, and it's wild stuff. And I can snooze these emails, but I have to read the entire email to figure out when to snooze them. So Notion Mail makes this really easy because I can just write a quick rule that says, hey, read the email. If there's a date that is a deadline, tag that date in kind of as a label. And then I can look at my inbox and see all the ones that involve dates and look at the ones that are coming around the corner and just deal with those. And I think that's a pretty straightforward way to get a lot of urgent stuff out of the way.
One follow-up based on that. It sounds like you're using some of the Notion style ethos of mail, dates and properties. Tell us a little more, because I think we got to some of that in the demo with notes, but not that much.
Yeah, I love I love properties in Notion in general. It's one of the things that makes Notion magical, that properties are incredibly powerful, and you can create beautiful views to sort your life with them, and bringing that to mail just makes tons of sense. So you can create properties that, for example, there's obviously the importance property, that people manually sort their emails into, really high priority, medium, low, waiting, blocked on someone. But I have an autopilot rule that creates an AI suggestion for what the importance should be. And when new emails flood in, I'll look at the suggestions and be like, yeah, these are all right, I'm gonna archive and ignore. Or this one, oh, it actually is true. This is an urgent email. And that feedback cycle between you and the AI is pretty fun, because you can actually improve it. You can go into the prompt and modify autopilot to make it better and better and better.
Last question from me. Do you have any tips on prompt engineering in the context of email?
Ooh, well, I'm just getting started with it still, I think. But I've noticed that that it helps to be very specific. For example, if you just say hey, flag dates in an email, it might flag the date buried deep in someone's signature from an earlier email. So you really need to explain exactly which kinds of things you want AI to call out. I think having or being a part of communities that share prompts is really important. I'm in a bajillion, but these things will, I think, become kind of templates in the future, where people will come up with really great prompts that help them accomplish awesome workflows and share them.
I guess my question is, do you have any questions for us about Notion Mail?
I mean, it's amazing what you guys have built so far, but what's coming next?
Great question. So, we have a lot more coming with Notion Mail soon. The first is the ability to share these views, because everyone needs to share your work in Notion, and you may need to do the same with all your use cases in email. We're also making Notion Mail and Notion Calendar smarter together. So building cross-app workflows like scheduling and adding to tasks and much more. And we'd love to hear from you what you're looking for. And then finally, we're going to be making Notion Mail into a full email provider. So right now, it unfortunately just works with Gmail and Google Workspace, but we hope to be adding many more, including an independent Notion option soon. So everyone here can try Notion Mail now. Find us all day in the makerspace. You also all get access for coming to Notion or Make with Notion in person, and you can always walk up to us or email us, and we'll get back to you with an AI written draft immediately. Thank you.